All right, hi everybody. This is my marker tutorial video, and let's just talk about a few things about markers. Now, when you get markers, you probably went out and bought the washable ones like you are supposed to, and you should have gone out and bought a Sharpie. Okay, that's the ultrafine 0.1, and let's see, I do not have a fine 0.1. Okay, but there's an example of a fine 0.1, but it's retractable. Totally love these over the retractable ones because these dry out very quickly if you don't use them fast enough. All right, but these are like your everyday Crayola markers. Okay, they are not the alcohol markers. If you want to go out and spend some serious dough on markers, please go right ahead. And what I want to teach you about markers is that if you are not careful and watching what you're doing, you can really ruin a set of markers really fast. Now, these are the El Cheapo ones that I got, and I'm just going to put some colors down. Okay. And just going to keep on going with the colors. Okay, this is a black washable marker, so everybody knows the difference. All right. Now, the reason I did the colors in that order, yellow, orange, red, green, blue, purple, brown, and then black, is because that's the order you're supposed to apply them anyway. Because if you take a marker and let's say we're starting with our yellow marker here, see how nice and pretty this yellow marker is going all the way around. It is perfect. Okay. However, if you go and it's like you have black or a darker color already down and you go over top of it, guess what? You no longer have a perfect marker, and that will smear and it takes forever to get out. And if you keep doing it, it's never going to go back right. Okay. However, if you ever need to do something like that, use your handy dandy Sharpie. Give it a few seconds to dry. You can blow on it if you really, really want to. Okay. And then color over top of it. Look at that. Still perfect. Okay. Now, if you want to go like from one color to another, like you want to do yellow and you want to go to a yellow orange, okay, yeah, you can layer colors, give it a second, and then you go over top of it like that, okay, and it's going to make a in-between color as it dries, okay. But if you want to like color something orange and you want a deeper orange, okay, you're going to go over twice, okay. And I want you to see how I'm actually using the marker. When I go to color things in, let's say I want to color this circle in, okay, it's a pretty big area, okay. I'm going to color in using the side, okay, and you're going to be like, what, Miss Welsh, now I got this weird overlapping thing. Well, that's why you got to kind of sort of be careful, okay. Alrighty. Have a little bit of overlap, but don't have much overlap. Okay, because the more overlap you have, the darker it's going to be. And you can go over it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and you're still going to have that weird overlap. You can go in a different direction, and you're still going to have that weird overlap, which is why I really don't like using markers. Okay, so let's pretend we colored something in, okay, and I really wanted this whole area to be orange. Okay, this is when the tip comes in. Okay, and you're ever so gently going to come in between and color that in. Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier when you're using markers. So I want to make sure that we're all up to par on that. Okay, also we have these things in art that are called complementary colors. You have orange and blue, red and green, and yellow and purple. Okay, I would put down yellow before I put down purple. I would put down green before I put down red. And I would put down orange before I put down blue. Why? Because the other color will pick up the darker of the two colors. That's something you need to be aware about as well. Okay, so Miss Welsh prefers you using lots of other things besides markers. That's why she isn't big on markers. But if you're going to use markers, you're going to have to like totally get it, because I'm going to take it down on a lot of points for mistakes, coloring outside the edges, making things look a little rough. Okay, make sure you use the color guide, the craftsmanship guide to get the highest amount of points possible. Okay, it's not about, oh, I need to run through and get this done as quickly as possible. Okay, it's about doing a good job, and that's what's going to set off a good piece of work from an okay piece of work from a great piece of work. Okay, so that's where it's going to start coming down to it. All right, guys, this has been Miss Welsh, and this is your quick tutorial on how to use regular everyday. All right, friends, so we are going to start doing graffiti art. Now, this is going to be legal graffiti art, which means we're going to do it on paper. We are not going to be doing it to deface property whatsoever. All right, so the easiest way I found to do this is to have our paper situated landscape. What is landscape? Landscape means it is short and wide, not tall and skinny. So put your paper in short and wide, not tall and skinny. Okay. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit so that you can get the full effect. Oh, that's a little too far. Okay. There we go. That's good. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of very, ever so lightly with my pencil, divide my paper in half. Okay. I'm going to eventually erase this line. Okay. But it lets me see how far to the right, how far to the left I am with my paper. So it's going to be helpful in blocking things. Okay. So I'm going to use my last name, not my first name. And since I have 5 letters in my last name, I'm going to have 2 letters here, 2 letters here, and 1 letter there. I want you to choose a school safe, school appropriate, 5-letter or more word, or you could use your name, first name, middle name, last name. It could be a parent's name, sister, brothers, cousins, aunts, uncles. Okay, be that. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is, after I have my paper bisected, pick my name, I'm going to put down 1 letter. Okay, it's not going to be perfect. I don't want it perfect right now. All right. All right. Now, the also thing about this is you don't want all your letters to be boom, 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 boom. Okay, you want to change it up a bit. Okay, so I'm going to make my next letter come down like that. All right. Okay, I'm going to leave some room in between my letters because I'm going to be adding on to my letters. Okay. I'm going to do another letter right here. And they all don't have to be like going straight up and down. You can like have them go off at different angles as well. When you do that, it makes it kind of visually interesting for your viewer. Alrighty. Let me think. Do the W this way. And you can also have them at different sizes, but I want you to see how much of the paper I'm using up with my letters. I'm using a lot of paper up with my letters. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is you can bubble them. You need to make them some way, somehow thicker, and not thicker like, okay, it's now 2 centimeters thick, Miss Welsh. No, I want like some serious girth to that. Okay, so add some stuff on. All right, and just to let you know, is that there's a certain way you want to see your letters being made. Okay, you are more than welcome to go search the internet to see how certain letters are made to make them look more graffiti-esque. Okay, so it doesn't have to look plain old, same old, same old. All right, I'm gonna do this one a little fancy. You don't have to do it fancy. All right, I'm just kind of blocking them out right now. I'm gonna add some more things onto this, but this gives me like a general outline of where I want my letters to be. All right, so I got that on there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is embellish my letters. Okay, embellish means making them look pretty, adding things on. Okay, so I'm probably going to put a fun little arrow here. Okay, you can change them into flowers. You can make them part of different things. You can add on borders. Okay, make it look as different as you want. Add on another one right there. They could be rounded. Make it look as different as you want. You want a lot of things going on with this. Okay, look, my letters are starting to overlap now. It's starting to become a little bit more interesting. You can add like some imagery on there, like a hat, whatever you feel like adding on there, you can add on there. Okay, but I'm mainly looking for the letters. I'm letting you know this right now. Okay, so after you get your letters on there, you've added a little bit of imagery. All right. Make that look a little bit more like a baseball cap. Okay, let's pretend it's all done. Now you're going to add your background. Okay, background. What, Miss Welsh? What? Okay, you're going to add in the wall. Okay, and it's going to be a brick wall because that's usually the type of thing that. Now, when you add your brick wall, you want your bricks to be about the same size. Okay, there is a little bit of a gap in between each of them. Alrighty. And you're just going to keep going all the way across. You can use a ruler if you so choose. It's totally up to you. All right. Here's the kicker. When you come in for the second row, okay, you don't want to put the next set of bricks right underneath of it. You want them to be kind of like divided like that. Okay, so see how the middle of this brick is like in between there, that part there? That's how you want to do it, okay? And you're going to keep going, keep going, keep going until you are finished doing all your bricks. All right, so I'm going to give you some time to work on this. All righty. And then I'll show you how I want it colored. Okay, so make sure you watch those videos on how to color because that's going to start to become important, my friend. Neatness is key here. Yeah, we want it to look cool, but we also want it to look nice. Okay, when things don't look nice in art, it's called sloppy. We don't want things to be sloppy. All right, so I'm going to put this video on pause and we're going to come back. All right, so done doing all my bricks and drawing everything, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my extra fine or ultra fine Sharpie, and I am going to go over top of every single line I have. This is regardless of whatever you're going to choose to color things in with. I don't care if it's color pencil. I don't care if you use oil pastels. It doesn't matter what you're going to use to add color to this. However, your first thing you need to do is to go through all this and go over all your lines. Trace over top of those lines. Try to be as careful as possible. If you go outside the line a little bit, just take an eraser to your work. Okay? And you've seen me do this before where it's like, okay, I made a boo-boo when I was tracing over top of something, and I just take my, you know, eraser to everything. It's okay. It's fine. Okay? You want to do every single line. This includes all those wonderful lines that are in your background. Okay? This is a requirement. It is not a request. Okay? But I promise you this, that if you do this, it'll look super awesome. Now, I also want to tell you something as well. Let's say you wanted some of your lines to be thicker than others. Okay? I would definitely do that for the lettering. I would not use a thicker Sharpie for the bricks. Okay? Because if you use a thicker Sharpie for the bricks, it's going to make it look really disjointed and it's not going to look nice at all. But if I was going to use a thicker Sharpie, I would more than likely use it. Here's my thicker Sharpie on the letters. Okay, so you see the difference between this line and that line. Okay, I put it right beside it. Sharpie's starting to die. Okay, and this is the fine point, not the ultra fine point or the extra fine point. Okay, so it gives you like some idea on how things are going to look. Do not use this on the bricks. Use the thin one on the bricks. Okay, but you do need to outline everything with the Sharpie first before going on to everything else. And I'm not going to make you watch me do all this, but you can certainly hit pause and work on this portion of your project yourself before going forward. All right, so I wanted you to see my work before I do anything else to it. So I decided to go, you don't have to go, but I decided to go, Miss Welch decided to go with the thicker border, okay, for my letters. But I did decide to keep the stuff that's inside my borders thinner. So that is an option that you can do. Okay. The next thing I'm going to tell you to do is you are going to need to color the entire thing in. But before you do that, please make sure your Sharpie's dry. Give it a couple seconds. Blow on it if you have to. Okay. Because you're going to take an eraser to it. Oh my goodness, Miss Welsh, why are we taking an eraser to it? Because you do not want any of the pencil lines to remain. Because once you add color, okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to brush it onto the floor, hoping our custodian will get to it. Okay, once you add color, it's not going to come up. So your choices for coloring, you have choices. Oil pastels. I don't have many of them, but you're more than welcome to use what I got. And make sure you have watched the oil pastel video before you start, because once you start with oil pastels, there is no going back. I'm letting you know that right now, my friends. No going back from oil pastels. Okay. You can use watercolors, which is fine too. Okay. You can also use color pencils. Okay. Now, all right, there we go. We'll make that line a little bit thicker. And I'm going to make sure that all my edges are nice and crisp, like there's no holes in my outlining anywhere. Awesome. That's good. Fabulous. Okay, so this is what my stopping point looks like for today. We're going to add the color, and you're going to see how it looks. And remember, everything must be colored in order for this to be wonderful.